A car crash is over in a split second. But what if one single variable in that tiny moment could be the difference between a dented fender and, well, something much worse? That's what we're digging into today, how the simple angle of impact can change absolutely everything. I just love this phrase from our source material, the geometry of danger. It's perfect, right? It tells you we're not just talking about bad luck here. We're talking about physics, about angles, and about forces that are surprisingly predictable. It's about learning to see the road in a whole new way. So let's just put the big question on the table right away. Could understanding this one thing, the angle of impact, actually be the key to surviving a crash? Well, according to the research, the answer is a resounding yes. And to really get why, we have to start with the absolute worst case scenario, the most dangerous situation you can possibly be in, the 180-degree impact. This is the one you have to avoid at all costs. So what does this number mean? It means a direct, head-on collision. Boom. It's two objects meeting with all of their forward momentum, with zero deflection. In the physics of a car crash, this is the angle where all the forces are at their most destructive, their absolute maximum. So why is it so bad? Well, think of it like a direct punch. All that kinetic energy has nowhere else to go. It just slams straight into the vehicle, causing the most crushing damage possible. The energy isn't deflected, it's not turned into movement, it's just absorbed. And that's what makes it so incredibly devastating. Okay, but what if a head-on collision seems like it's about to happen no matter what? This is where things get really interesting, because our sources point to a fascinating and kind of counterintuitive tactic. There is something you can do. So here's the strategy. You change the point of impact. Instead of just bracing for that square-on direct hit, you actually aim to hit the other object slightly off-center. It seems like a tiny adjustment, but it fundamentally changes the entire physics of the crash. It turns that direct punch into more of a spinning, glancing blow. And here's the magic of it. By creating that off-center hit, you're giving all that impact energy a new job to do. Instead of just crushing metal, the energy gets converted into rotation. It spins the vehicle. And that spin, it dissipates a huge amount of that destructive force away from the car's frame and, more importantly, away from you. That off-center trick really just reveals a universal truth of crash physics. Angles dissipate force. Any angled impact is safer than a direct one. It's always the better alternative in pretty much any scenario. The whole idea here is energy dissipation. Think about playing pool for a second. If you hit a billiard ball dead on, your cue ball stops, right? It transfers all of its energy. But if you hit it at an angle, both balls go careening off in new directions. That energy goes into movement. That's exactly what we want in a car crash. An angled impact deflects the vehicles, and it sends all that dangerous energy somewhere else. So this creates what you could call a spectrum of danger. At 0 degrees, like a parallel side swipe, the danger is pretty minimal. It gets a lot worse at 90 degrees, in something like a T-bone collision. But way at the far end of the spectrum, that's where you find the 180-degree head-on impact. It's the absolute peak of danger. The lesson here is so simple. The narrower the angle, the better off you are. So what do we do with all this? What's the big takeaway? It's about taking this knowledge and turning it into a whole new way of seeing the road, a kind of lens of proactive safety. This isn't just about what to do in a crisis. It's about avoiding the crisis in the first place. Here's how you can actually use this. When you're approaching an intersection, don't just see the light. Think about those potential 90-degree paths. Maybe you shift a little to one side of your lane just to improve a potential impact angle if someone runs that red light. You start to see the geometry of it all, anticipating possibilities. And you always know that if a crash is unavoidable, you're looking for that glancing blow, not the direct hit. And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. Now that you understand this geometry of danger, how's it going to change the way you see the road tomorrow? How might it subtly shift how you position your car in traffic, even when everything seems perfectly fine? It's a powerful new lens to look through, and it just might be the one that makes all the difference. Drive safe out there.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.